Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, back from a long absence with my next black and white Pokemon upgrade. Today we're going to be discussing the Pokemon Masquerain, which is probably one of the most unique Pokemon around now, and it's really awesome this generation because of one simple move that it gets. Now, it's not probably going to be one of the main Pokemon in like the upper tiers that you're going to be using. However, in the lower tiers, which is where this Pokemon probably will be placed, I could see it being a huge threat due to this upgrade that it received this generation. So with that, let's get started. So first off, if you don't know already, Masquerain sports the Bug Flying typing, which is probably one of the least ideal typings a Pokemon could possibly have, due to the prevalence of Stealth Rock that will be up in most battles you'll be encountering, meaning that you'll be taking 50% or you'll be losing 50% of your health every time you switch this Pokemon in, which is very unfortunate. However, other than that, it's pretty good typing and gives you a 4 times resistance to fighting, which is always beneficial since fighting types are everywhere in competitive battling. As for the abilities though, the first one you get is Intimidate, which is an amazing ability to have on this Pokemon, especially because of its upgrade this generation. And if you don't know what Intimidate does, it basically lowers your opponent's physical attack every time Masquerain switches in. And that's really great because this one stage drop in their physical attack could be very beneficial to your team, allowing maybe one Pokemon to survive a hit they normally wouldn't have, and then counter that Pokemon that's out on the opponent's side of the field. So it has some interesting strategic value to it, but it also works very well for Masquerain because of its not so amazing defenses. As for its Dream World ability, though, it's known as Unnerve, and yay, we're working with American names now, which is awesome. I forget what this was called in the rough translation prior to the American release. But anyways, Unnerve is an ability that makes it so that your opponent can never consume a berry if they're holding one. And now this is a okay ability, but it's very situational, so I would never really recommend using it unless you really need something to counter something that has berries. I don't know. Maybe if you're using it against like a Lumberry lead or something like that, but I don't really know, or I haven't thought of a strategy for something like that yet. But as for the stats, you can see that they're pretty mediocre, I guess you could say. 70 HP, 62 defense, and 82 special defense really aren't the best defenses in the world, nor are 60 attack, 80 special attack, and 60 speed the best stats to have for attacking and doing damage. However, as I said before, it gets one move added to its move pool this generation that really allows it to make use of these not so great stats in a amazing way due to the ridiculous attacking move pool that this thing has, and I honestly do not even know why it learns half the moves that it does, but it does, which is awesome, and most people really don't know the move pool that Masquerain has, so it can be a very surprising Pokemon to see in a battle, because you really won't know what's coming, and then your opponent will be hit by something they never even knew this Pokemon could learn. So with that, let's get to the first of the 2 movesets that I have for this video. So this first moveset for this video is the one I was basically referring to at the beginning, where I said that this Pokemon could potentially be a huge threat in the lower tiers, with also some success in the upper ones if you want to try and use it there to be like mixing things up, I guess, but I wouldn't really recommend it. But first we're going to give it a Timid Nature to increase its speed but lower its physical attack. And then we're going to be using the ability Intimidate to obviously lower your opponent's physical attack by 1 stage, and now this could be useful in a variety of situations, but when you're leaving Masquerain in, Intimidate will come in handy because it'll allow you to survive physical attacks better than you previously were able to. As for the EVs though, we're going to put 4 into defense to give you 1 more point into that, 252 into special attack to give you your highest special attack that you can get with Timid Nature, and 252 EVs into speed to give you your max speed. As for the item, there's 2 possibilities, one of which is probably not going to be the one that you would even think to use, which is the Citrus Berry. And now the reasoning for this is because of the massive amount of damage you might take from Stealth Rocks. So basically having the Citrus Berry will be kind of a way to counteract the Stealth Rock damage, because even though it won't activate once you switch in, if your opponent has a Sandstorm up, however, the Sandstorm damage will then cause the Citrus Berry to activate, thus bringing you back up to 75% of your health, which is a lot better than 50%. But also, if your opponent isn't using stealth rocks or something like that, it's still a great thing to have because it's really unexpected that people will even be holding this item, because most attacking sets usually just hold a life orb, which is the second one. However, if you are planning on using this Pokemon, life orb is kind of a risky move to use because obviously the massive damage you're taking from stealth rock, but because the recoil will also add on top of that damage that you've already taken, making you really only able to attack a few times before you're dead, which is unfortunate. But as for the moves, the first one we're going to be using is Quiver Dance, and yay for American names as well, because this used to be called Butterfly Dance. But this is the move that I was referring to that pretty much is the reason for this upgrade video. What it does is it increases your special attack, your special defense, and your speed by one stage. And because, as you saw before, that this Pokemon doesn't have amazing stats in either of those categories, this ability or this move is amazing because it'll make you able to outspeed a lot of things after just the +1, and also be able to do a lot of damage. And on top of that, you also get this really cool defensive thing going where you have Intimidate to lower physical attack, and also Quiver Dance to up your special defense. So you're kind of becoming slightly bulky in a really weird way, but it's a really cool effect that it can have because it will mean that you can survive things that you normally wouldn't be able to because of the increase in special defense or the drop in physical attack, as I said before. But for the moves, the ones I picked out right here are kind of the ones that I thought were going to be the most useful out of all of them. The first one, though, is Air Slash, and the reasoning for this is because it's stab, and it has the chance to flinch, and also, as I said before, fighting types are everywhere, so having a solid counter to fighting types in the form of like a flying type Pokemon like this is really awesome, because there really aren't a lot of special attacking flying type Pokemon aside from like Togekiss and Yanmega. So this is another one to add to the Air Slash using flying type Pokemon, so that's really cool. But up next, we have Hydro Pump, which is, again, why the heck does this Pokemon learn it? And I know that it was once a part water-type Pokemon when it was Surskit, so it's really cool that it can learn one of the most powerful water-type moves and be successful with it, as well as also, having Bug Buzz as a secondary stab if you want that. But up next, we also have Hidden Power Fire, which I think is the third or a good fourth slot. In my opinion, you should be going with Air Slash, Hydro Pump, Hidden Power Fire, but you could also obviously add Bug Buzz and then Ice Beam as well to your arsenal, which is really great, and you can mix this up however you want and give yourself some really awesome type coverage. Another thing to note is that this Pokemon also learns Blizzard, Solar Beam, and Shadow Ball, which also could come in effect in a variety of ways, but it could also prove that this Pokemon can be amazing on weather teams, because Hydro Pump will get a boost from rain teams. Solar Beam can be used on sun teams without having a charge up turn, and Blizzard will have 100% accuracy in hail teams. And I don't think I said Blizzard before, but this Pokemon also learns Blizzard, so it has an awesome move pool to make use of with this new Quiver Dance. Lastly, for this video, we have a fairly formidable baton passing set for Masquerain to use this generation. So first, we're going to give it a timid nature and intimidate as its ability, similar to the last set. But for the EVs, we're going to put 128 into HP to give you some decent HP, 128 into your physical defense to give you some decent physical defense, and 252 EVs into your speed to give you your max speed possible, which is very important when you're trying to do baton pass, because obviously if you're not fast enough to even use the move, then there's really no point in you using it at all. But for the item, this time we're going to be going with leftovers to allow you to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn, and thus make yourself more able to take hits, hopefully, and get more boosts to baton pass to your teammates. But as for the moves, the first one is going to be Quiver Dance again, because that's an awesome upgrade that it gets this generation, and kind of the whole reason for this video. And being able to pass +1 special attack, special defense, and speed to your Pokemon on your team is an awesome kind of boost to be giving to your teammates that can utilize it in a better way than Masquerain might be able to. But after that, we're going to be using Air Slash as its main attacking move, even though you're not really going to be attacking, but we're still making it so that this Pokemon can do something if it's not able to Baton Pass. Thirdly, we're going to be using Baton Pass, obviously, because I've been saying that for like the last 2 minutes. And then for the last move slot, it's either going to be Roost or Substitute. Now, I'm not entirely sure if you can run Roost on this set because we're using a 4th gen ability, a 4th gen move tutor move with a 5th gen move that it learns when it levels up. So if it is possible to give it Roost, trade it over to Black and White to where it will level up to learn Quiver Dance, then that is what you would be going with. However, if that is not possible, because I'm not sure if it is, you would want to go with Substitute, because that will also allow you to pass a sub to your teammate and also allow you to obviously be behind a wall of sorts and be able to take hits while you set up, which is great. But the reasoning why I think that Masquerain is such a great baton passer this generation is because of what I said before about like the dual defensive thing going on with Intimidate and Quiver Dance. Basically, after you intimidate something and you set up a Quiver Dance, it's essentially equivalent to like using stockpile once, I guess, in terms of a defenses, and you'll have around 300 defense in both of your defenses if you think of it that way, or if you think of the Intimidate as a increase in your own defense to an extent. But basically, it makes this Pokemon very resilient to attacks because it can take them from both the physical and special side. And this will allow you to then hopefully set up more than just one Quiver Dance and pass it off to your teammate, which is great and something that can really help special sweeping Pokemon. But that is pretty much it for this video. As you can see, Masquerain can be a powerful special attacker this generation, but also a very useful baton passer for special defense, special attack, and speed. So I hope that you guys like this video after my long absence, and that's pretty much all I have. I'm sorry that I don't do more overused Pokemon, because that's not really my style. I think there's a lot more to the underused metagame than most people give it credit. So I will probably continue to be doing more UU and U Pokemon as I progress with this channel. However, I will be doing OU Pokemon if I think of something really cool in terms of like an original set to use. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys, so take care and goodbye.